Hey everybody, welcome back to Office Hours with GV. My name is GV Freeman at gvfreeman.com. I wanted to tell you a little fable today about alignment. And oftentimes, new CEOs, new founders don't really understand the purpose of alignment and how important it is to make sure that your entire company is aligned from top to bottom. I want to give you this little fable kind of in a story form, but in all honesty, this probably happens with at least 50% of the companies that I help. At some point in time, they find a company that comes to them and says, I really love your product, but I really need this custom feature. And the founders say, well, are you willing to pay for it? And the customer says, well, sure, we'll pay you to build that feature. Now, the first thing that could potentially go wrong with this is that the feature that they want you to build might not be in line with your product's mission and your product's vision. And that's a problem in and of itself, something that we can talk about in another office hours. But what I want to tell you right now is what happens a lot of times when you build this custom feature. So in a typical SaaS product, you're going to be able to control all the features in your product through a user interface, through the web interface. But most of the time, when you build some new custom feature, you're going to build it quickly because the customer needs it really fast. So the customer gives you some specifications, you send them over to the developers and the designers, and they go ahead and they build this new custom feature that is now working in your product. Well, now the feature's up and working, the customer's very happy, they have the feature that they need, and everybody goes about their business. Well, the salesperson actually finds out about this feature, and they look on the website and they realize that this feature actually isn't listed on the website anymore, but they now have a new customer that wants this feature. So they run over to the marketing director and they say, hey, Mr. Marketing Director, I need you to add this feature on the website, and I also need you to create a one-up for me, a one-sheeter, so I can send it over to this new client and their team so we can sell the product to them. So marketing adds it to the website. They have very little information about the way that this feature works. Then they create a one-up, and the salesperson starts sending that one-up to all of their potential customers. And then you find some customer who wants to buy this feature. So they actually buy it, and the salesperson really doesn't know the level of implementation required to get that feature up and running. So the customer or the salesperson sells the feature, and then they get ready to do implementation. Now, here's where things start to roll off the track. The customer is expecting what marketing told them to expect and what the salesman sold them, but neither one of those departments really have any idea of what's required to implement that feature and the features that are inside of that feature, the switches that might be able to be turned on to make that feature customized for each client. So now you have a customer success or a project management or an implementation team who turns to the salesperson and says, well, we don't know anything about this. Why did you sell this feature? You don't have any idea what's going on with this feature. We don't even know what's going on with this feature. And the salesperson says, well, I want my commission and the customer expects it, so figure it out. And they pitch it over the wall to customer success. Now customer success works their tail off to get this feature implemented. And the customer is relatively happy, but it took twice as long to implement it, and they really don't understand how it works because there's no documentation, there is no real information about how this feature works. But the customer says, you know what, it's working now, I don't care, let's move on. Now we get to implementation again. 2 or 3 of those customers, they start using this same feature, and now the developers say, hey, but we're going to add on to this feature, or we're going to start developing something different that's sort of in alignment with that feature. Now the developers build a new feature that, lo and behold, breaks all of that custom code that the implementation team has been using to try and get these other customers up and running on the feature. And now what happens? All of those support calls, all of those support tickets end up coming into the support team. Support team explodes. Support team time to service and time to close a ticket increases. So now you have unhappy customers and you have a support team that is overwhelmed. Now imagine doing this time and time and time again with every new little feature that marketing distorts, then sales distorts, then the customer is unhappy because project management and customer success can't get them implemented in the same way, and there is no documentation. And again, at the very end of the road, support team is the one that gets stuck holding the bag. And whenever I see a software company come to me and say, we have a huge problem in support. Our support team continues to grow. Our time to close a ticket continues to grow. Our customer satisfaction scores continue to get smaller. Well, that's most of the time happens at a much higher level. And the lack of alignment across product, marketing, sales is usually the root of that problem. So if you want to know how to begin aligning your 3 departments together, that is something that we can absolutely talk about. Reach out to me. I hope this fable makes a little bit of sense, because I'm telling you right now that it probably happens in at least 50% of the companies that I work with. So I hope this makes sense. Look forward to chatting with you. Reach out if you have any questions. Take care and have a great day.